Hey guys, it's really early for me, or late, I should say. Just not been able to sleep. Um, a lot of you guys' comments and that interview last night just really messed with me a little bit. But in being honest with my viewers, subscribers, anybody out there listening, and hopefully being a voice for those who have survived any type of violence, but especially DV and SA and the emotional stuff that can still trigger you, PTSD and everything. I'm here again, and sharing my feelings and thoughts, okay? First of all, I want to thank all of you guys in my comments, all of those of you who subscribe to me and who are watching me. I want to first of all say thank you for being so respectful in comments and attitudes and everything with each other, even when we disagree. And it's okay. It is very much okay to disagree. Disagreeing, discussing, and learning from each other is how we grow and evolve as people and humans. And doing it in a healthy adult way is probably one of the best things we can do. You have to learn to be able to see other people's viewpoints and accept them. That's, you know, that's kind of the freedom that this country is built upon, or was supposed to be built upon, I should say. I'm not even going there. Um, it's hard. I also want to say, in no way, when I'm voicing my opinions and my thoughts about this case, am I sitting here saying this person is guilty or that person is guilty? Number one, I don't work for law enforcement. Number two, I don't want to work for law enforcement, okay? Number two, I'm not a judge. I'm not on any jury. Sorry about the clapping. For my friend that asked me not to, I'm going to try very hard. I'll try to slow down talking too. I get animated when it's something I'm really passionate about or I'm really feeling at that moment. And I apologize, but in another sense, I don't apologize because I'm being honest and real, and it's coming from deep in here. I don't want it to feel like I'm convicting anybody. What I am doing is when I see you sit here, and I'm about to give you some prime examples. I have a little notebook. I'm gonna hold it up to the screen again. I want you guys to see the title. I don't know if you can, but it's The Voices Behind the Wall interview and some notes I made while I was watching it. I'm a note taker. I've always been a note taker. You know, um, this is my summer notebook, and it's not. There's sections. You know, um, back here, there's blank pages probably in between because I'm not done. My little bookmark marking it apart. But there's different sections for different videos I watched, different research that I have done, and I'm keeping it. I'm not tossing this out, not because I think it's important to anybody but me. But if anybody says, "Oh well, you put out this video after this came out and it came from there," no, no, no. These are dated and they're sectioned. My notes that are made from each interview are here, so I can recall and go back and know, hey, I wrote this then, I wrote this there, this was my thought at this time. The reason I say any of what I'm saying is because I do feel like some people are misunderstanding where I'm coming from, and I just want to clarify. I just want it known. I'm not convicting anybody. I'm not even saying that the inconsistencies and whatever means that somebody's guilty. What I am saying to you is everybody's saying, oh, this YouTuber giving their opinion and saying this and that, or this person doing this or that. is hindering the case. I really believe that these adults and some non-adults involved in this situation that are pivotal because of the last moments that Summer was with us, they were there, not telling the entire truth, circumnavigating the truth, omitting pieces of the truth, are probably hindering the investigation more than anything or anybody. And that I'm letting it be known, hey, I don't believe you. This is why. I don't know what you left out. I mean, I even gave an example, when I say something's being left out, it may be nothing. It may be something really minimal that the person feels is not, doesn't matter, to the investigation whatsoever. But, like me and my friend Sally Jane are going to the movies and both of us have boyfriends. Well, Sally and I decided to stop and pick up Jim and George, who aren't our boyfriends. And there's something happens along the way, Sally, my friend Sally Jane, chokes on an apple, and God forbid we have to take her to the hospital and she has to have surgery in a trach. When I'm telling the story, I leave out the part that we picked up Jim and George because we don't want our boyfriends, Bob and Alan, to know about Jim and George. Now, I'm not saying anybody had a boyfriend or girlfriend. Let's not go there, people, either. It's just an example of something that, Sally Jane probably didn't choke and need the surgery because we picked up Jim and George. So we're leaving it out because we don't feel like it matters. But when we're giving our timeline to the authorities of what happened, there's going to be a gap of time that we can't account for because we're not talking about Jim and George. If you don't understand what I'm saying, please feel free to ask me and I will clarify. But see, I'm not, in my story, I'm not guilty of really doing any criminal act. And it probably didn't play a part in Sally needing her surgery in the accident that occurred. But when I tell my story to others, they're going, something's missing. Something's not right here. And it makes me look guilty. And that's what I'm pointing out. Whatever it is that's being covered up a little bit or hidden makes these people look like they have something to hide. The old adage, and it was more about relationships, but the old adage that I remember spouting so many times is when you act like you have something to hide, it's because you do. Again, the truth is the truth is the truth. And that's all I want. I want the truth. Stop playing with my intelligence and my emotions and be real with me because somebody is not. At the end of the day, people just don't poof and disappear. It doesn't happen without something coming into play. That being said, I know there's people out there talking junk about me, whatever. Another little philosophy for you that I live by, people. Don't come telling me what somebody else said about me. Explain to me why they felt comfortable saying that about me in front of you. I don't want to hear it. I do not participate in drama. So I didn't want to name other YouTubers. Because I'm not trying to start a beef or drama. At all. It really just hurt me that I felt like this person, maybe they didn't understand. I was a fan. Still have respect for this person. I just can't say that I'm a fan anymore because as a DV/SA survivor, the mitigating and downplaying of Dawn and other people, multiple other people in this 5-year-old's life that have SA in their background and current, present, whatever, however you want to put it, the downplaying of that as it being important to why she's no longer here and saying it didn't matter. It's the way it made victims / survivors, because you're a victim first, but you work your way through it and you become a survivor. You don't let it overtake you and you don't let it own you. And when somebody mitigates that to you, and in a situation like this, mitigates it and says it doesn't matter and it's not of import, they victimize you all over again. That's how you feel. And I was giving voice and still am giving voice. I will not back down. Still am giving voice to those feelings and those emotions for those who may not be strong enough to do so. Call me weak, whatever you want to do. I don't call me weak. I call me strong. I call me independent. And I call myself a survivor. And I will continue to do so. Period. Now, on with pointing out inconsistencies because other people are just brushing them under the rug or saying, oh, they were just really upset and don't know. First of all, I'm going to say this again. If you look at the very first public interview that Dawn and Candace gave, they are very specific about claiming the only people they have around and hang around are good church people. They try to be around good people, good church people. But every time we do another interview, more and more comes out about how the people that were at their home weren't the good church people. The people they were running around with and hanging around with weren't the people from church. The David Dodson guy, Robin, that's the first time they'd ever been to their house was the day Summer disappeared. They said so, not me. They did, repeatedly. But Allie and H been to their house. The co-worker that Dawn fired been to their house. The sex offender that was an on and off boyfriend of Grandma been to their house. Jose been to their house. That's my point. Inconsistencies. Then they state the Sermon on the Mount. I'm repeating myself, guys, and I apologize, but I kind of have to right now because I'm trying to get something through people's heads. People that are not members, people that are not survivors, people that think that just anytime you say anything, you're accusing somebody of being guilty. I am not accusing anybody of any type of guilt other than what I specifically state, which is inconsistencies, half-truths, and straight-up lies. Period. You say in the Sermon on the Mount, which was your first, interview that was aired, as far as I know, and any of us know, as I understand, because I've went back and looked. We don't know our neighbors. We've lived here all this time. We don't associate with them. We don't know them. We don't know anything about them. We don't know any of them. Through this happening, we have learned we have some pretty good neighbors and da-da-da-da. That's what you said. Then in your next interviews, when you're talking about what happened that day, you say that you asked law enforcement about talking about you, Dawn, going and talking to all the drug dealers on your road. You tell Chris about how bad it is and how it's, I think a drug corridor is the term Chris says, and you're like, yeah, you know what it means, dude? You were in jail for drugs. You yourself said you were using and running dope back and forth to Mexico. You may have gotten clean, but you hadn't forgot the mentality and that lifestyle and the terminology. Don't play with us. That's what I'm talking about. You're acting like a nearly 60-year-old man that's never had a jaywalking ticket, but yet you've been in prison. And you're sitting here laughing. Your whole demeanor is different in different interviews. You're a different person, like a chameleon, changing. That's what I'm talking about. How do you go on one interview and say you don't know your neighbors, you've lived there 13 years, you don't know these people, you have learned since this has happened, you have some pretty good neighbors and blah, 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 and say that. And then, what, a week or so later, you're on another interview and you're talking about how, this person sells this and does this, and this person does this, and this person does that, and you feel comfortable enough to go knock on their door and ask them questions because you don't feel like the police are. And I get that. That's, you know, in a sense, that's what a parent would do. We might get angry and be like, if you're not going to question these people, then I'll go do it myself. I get that. But to say that you know they're drug dealers and that you know they're selling this, I heard you. I heard you talking about the specific things, and I'm not going to name them, that people were selling. I don't know if you called names and it was bleeped out or what. But the thing is, if you don't know the neighbors, how do you know all that? If you're not using drugs, how do you know what they're selling? If you're not buying from them, how do you feel comfortable enough to go knock on their door and ask them questions? Most of us would sit here and be thinking, I don't know, I might need to take a gun or something with me because they might shoot me in the head because I'm a stranger coming to a drug den asking questions about a crime. That's what I'm saying. And there's multiple inconsistencies. How long has this red truck come into play? And we just, on the Voices Behind the Wall, just after he's been asked multiple times, just get this story about the red truck was broke down. So Don is the person that said something about the red. He never really answered that, by the way. He talked about it being broke down, the police showing up, them asking, I guess, to jump him off. And the police saying, he's going to jump off, knowing him by name, before Summer went missing. Enough to say, yeah, he's going to jump him off. And then you going to talk about how somebody's hair looked on? You really going to talk about how this woman looked like she hadn't brushed or washed her hair? Hiller, can we go back to some of your videos? You really going to talk about that? Just a question here, bud. But we haven't heard this story all this time, and then we finally hear it in this interview. That is also what Chris is talking about Don watching the stuff on the internet and changing and adapting. But when you change your story, you look like a liar. There's no other way to put it. There's no good, bad, or ugly, and I'm not the person, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, okay? If you want somebody to sugarcoat ish, I guess you need to go to the Brock's factory and get you some candy, because this ain't a candy factory here. It's Nita's world giving Nita's opinion. In my opinion, IMO, all caps. My opinion. And I'm nobody but me. I'm just me. And I'm gonna be me. Anybody that I'm not asking people to like me or love me or hate me. And somebody out there saying I'm profiting, I have not got one penny. I'm not getting a penny for this video. Didn't get a penny for the last video. Didn't get a penny for the one before. I'm not a monetized YouTuber, people. Not getting paid here. Not get paid. But what I am saying, and I'm going to say again, and I say in every video, Summer, Utah Moon Wells. Summer, 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 summer. We need to keep her name out there. We need to keep her memory out there. We need to keep everybody talking and thinking about her. And I'm sorry if people don't like it. But if we don't, she'll be forgotten like others have. And that's what I won't see. Now, back to the inconsistencies I said I was going to point out. Yeah, I already said that about, the neighbors and whatnot. That's the first point that I made that he was talking about in their video. And let's see. the big thing that to me is like a huge, like, what? That Dawn says that doesn't make sense. Like, if it just doesn't make sense. He's sitting here saying that when he drove up the shed and he saw this and this, and he hadn't, and it's repeated. You said this, and it's recorded for posterity forever, Dawn. You said you pulled up, you saw the boys and your neighbor there at the shed, and you hadn't got a call back from Candace. So you knew Summer was gone at that moment because you hadn't heard back from Candace saying she'd been found. Then in this interview, Don says that he was surprised. Candace is out riding around in Grandma's truck, and he and her are talking on Facebook Messenger the entire, 30-minute drive that he made. And he's surprised that was able to occur because the signal's so spotty. But they were able to keep connection. The only time he hung up was when they hung up, called 911, and called each other back. His words, not mine. And that my thing is, if when he pulls up, he's still, as he stated, on Facebook Messenger, video messenger, talking, Facebook Messenger, the app that goes with Facebook, that you can video, voice, or text through. That he's still video Facebook Messenger chatting with Candace when he pulls up. Dawn, why would she need to call you back? She's still on the phone with you. That's two things that don't match. It's like wearing checks and polka dots or checks and stripes. It doesn't go together. That's the part about insulting my intelligence. That's the part about you're not as smart as you think you are. I'm not convicting you, not saying you did something other than not tell the truth and not make good sense. And I'm pointing it out because some people apparently aren't catching it, because in this video it's, yeah, you're just broken. No, you're not telling the truth. Take the kid gloves off. Don's not the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old's who's missing. Don is who is not telling us the truth while his 5-year-old is missing. Sorry, not sorry. That's how I see it. The next thing, why does Don keep reminding us, and this keeps popping up for me over and over again. Two things that keep popping up, and I really haven't heard anybody address. One, where's Summer's puppy? Where is the puppy? Lucky that she called Yucky. Where's this dog at? Why has it not been mentioned? I don't know about anybody else. I'm surprised that I haven't seen parents holding this dog on TV saying, Summer, your puppy misses you. We miss you. Come home. Where's it at? Where's Summer's favorite blanket and favorite dress and pair of shoes? What's her favorite color? What's her favorite TV show? I'm waiting because I still haven't heard those answers. And that bothers me. As a mother, that bothers me. Those are the things that bother me. That's all I'm talking about, because I'm not hearing anybody else speak about it. And that's the part that surprises me from some people. Why make it such a point to tell us that you drove that red Subaru that day? Why make it a point to tell us that you put your tools in it before you left that morning? And then again, make it a point to tell us that when you got that call from Candace and you left, that you put your tools in the Subaru, got in, started driving, called 911, and called Candace back on Facebook. Why is the vehicle... Why is it so important that you drove that vehicle that day, and so important that you put your tools in it? I don't understand the importance, but it has to play a part because you're making a point of it repeatedly. I don't know. Um, and again, I made a note here. It says, "Why the change in story, Dawn? Before you said you knew she was gone because Candace hadn't called you back. Now you were on Facebook Messenger call with Candace when you got home, even to the shed where you saw the boys and the neighbor. What is the real version? What's the deal? Why? Where's your real story? Which one is true? Both of them were your own words. Which one is the truth? You can't, both of those things can't be true. You can't have drove up there, seen those boys and that neighbor, and knew Summer was really gone because Candace hadn't called you back, and be on the phone with Candace in Facebook Messenger. You can't, it can't be both. That's kind of like being a little pregnant. You either are or you're not. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, and I've made it. This is about the behind the wall. Where Don's speaking, he's in the church talking, you hear people giggling. Part of the time he's outside, Candace keeps calling, okay? Now in this interview, there may have been there may have been an LE officer or two up there. And I wrote WTF is up. Until this point, Dawn, until this interview, Dawn, you've been adamant that you beat law enforcement there. That's why they were such a crappy law enforcement team. Is because you were able to drive from Jonesboro to your house and beat them there. They weren't there when you went down to the shed or came back up. Your words in more than one interview, more than one time, even on your Facebook page. And I'm calling you out on it. Then in this interview, where they didn't say a word to you, let you speak your truth, absolutely. Let you say your piece, let you clear your name, sure enough. But when you're out and out telling a half-truth or changing your story, yes, if they're doing a true interview and they're truly being an impartial journalist, impartial means when that person tells a lie, you call them out. Your story changed. Well, I don't know. I was so upset. There might have been one there. You were very adamant that no, not one single one was there, that they arrived after you. It might not have been long after you said, but they arrived after you. Now, in this interview, you don't know. There may have been one or two there when you drove up, which is true, Dawn. Again, which is true. I made a note here while I was watching this. I'm probably going to get, I'm going to sound like Dawn here, probably going to get attacked for this. But does Dawn's cadence of speech and the way he's talking not seem just a little bit different in the Voices Behind the Wall interview? Like he doesn't have that slow, slur, drawl that he had when he was speaking to Chris, when he was doing the interview with the little boy under his arm that looked like he was terrified to death. Have we touched on that? Anybody else want to speak about that? Because that was honestly the big trigger moment for me in this case originally, was that interview and that little boy. I identified with that little boy. Something in him and his physical actions called out to me. Sorry, not sorry. He did seem to be speaking more normally, I guess is the word I'm looking for, but it was faster than in past interviews. I'm getting the notice that I'm running out of time, so going to speed it up here. His body language, he has a lot of deflective moves when he's asked questions in response to certain questions about Summer. There's a lot of tongue jutting, mouth grooming, face touching. All of those are deflective measures. I've got this about Summer. He seems very detached several times when talking about the Subaru and Summer. And how many times has he drove the Subaru to work since that day? I wonder. It's a question nobody's asked that I want to know. Was there really a reason he drove it? Because of all the attention? Now, this is said before last night's interview with Chris's show. Was there a reason that he wanted all that attention from the bosses and co-workers and he drove that on purpose? Did the people that saw and talked to Dawn that day stay the entire day? If you've ever worked construction, you check in the morning, you go to your job site, you may check in and out at lunch or may not, and then you check in and out in the evening coming from your job site, small or large. You may be on a large apartment complex